Let's now cover financial independence. At least we'll get started. Everybody has to wrestle now with their own concept of financial independence or getting rich or becoming wealthy. I know some people are a little uncomfortable with those kind of phrases, and I can understand that. You know, we've heard the phrase, which is true, to love money would certainly be evil. But money's not evil. There is some evil ways to acquire it. The difference between greed and ambition. Contrary to the movie Wall Street, greed is not good. Greed is evil and must be dealt with. Greed is evil. Greed hopes for something for nothing. Greed hopes for more than its share. Greed hopes for something at the expense of others. We call that evil. Right, we should lock them up. It's true. Make them pay the price. Greed is not good. Here's what is good. Ambition. Legitimate ambition. Legitimate ambition says, I only want something at the service of others. Not the expense of others, but at the service of others. Jesus gave the greatest scenario for success when he said, whoever wishes to be the greatest, nothing wrong with wishing to be the greatest. It's called enlightened self-interest. But he gave the key to those who wish to be the greatest. Here's what he said. Find a way to serve the most. Service to many leads to greatness. Not the expense of many. Not at the calamity of many. The greed for power caused Stalin, in his day and time, to kill 30 million of his own countrymen. His greed and lust for power was so powerful. It is true. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Stalin, probably one of the best examples. He was willing to kill 30 million of his own countrymen to satisfy his greed for power. Power at the expense of others, not at the service of others, but at the expense of others. But Jesus turns the whole scenario around and says, to be the greatest, the most powerful, is a worthy ambition as long as it's done in this mode. Here it is, at the service of many. Service to many leads to great wealth. Service to many leads to great recognition. Service to many leads to great satisfaction. Zig Ziglar probably said it as well as anybody could say it. If you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything you want. That's not greed. It's called legitimate ambition at the service of. But I know some people have, they're struggling with this idea, and we talk about how to get rich. I've been teaching kids, all these years. How to be rich by 40, 35 if you're extra bright, much sooner if you find a unique opportunity. And some people are a little disturbed by that, teaching kids how to get rich, teaching kids how to make a fortune. So I've modified it a little bit, and here's the best I've been able to come up with. And that is the goal to become financially independent. A little softer than rich, a little softer than make a fortune, and sometimes it's a little easier for it to go down, or at least comprehend, if it's put, I think, in these terms. Financial independence. Here's my definition of financial independence. The ability to live from the income of your own personal resources. It's powerful. And I think it's a worthy goal. I think it's a worthy and legitimate ambition. To render good service, to develop skills in the marketplace, and to become so valuable that you can have the resources, and finally, have enough resources, well invested, to where you could live independent from the income of your own personal resources. Then if you do wise things with your resources and the income, all the things you'd like to do, the projects you'd like to support, things you'd like to take care of that you can't take care of now, I think it's a worthy ambition, financial independence. Here's 2 or 3 more parts to financial independence. Number 1, keep strict accounts. This is the best of disciplines. Keep strict accounts. Did you ever hear this expression? I don't know where it all goes. Did you ever hear that? I don't know where it all goes. Oh, we'd love to have you run our company. You don't know where it all goes. Whoa. Did you ever hear this? It just gets away from me. It just gets away from me. We'd love to turn the world over you. It just gets away from you. Come on, you got to have better disciplines than that. Let that be the 90%. Let that be the scenario of the 97%, but don't let it be your scenario. Don't let it become your philosophy. Keep strict accounts. Next, a new attitude. I had to develop a new attitude as well as new concepts. Here's what I used to say. I hate to pay my taxes. Shoaff said, well, that's one way to live. I thought, well, doesn't everybody hate to pay their taxes? He said, no, a few of us have gotten way past that. He says, once you understand what taxes are, here's what taxes are in our governmental system in our society. Taxes is how you care and feed the goose that lays the golden eggs. Democracy and liberty and freedom, free enterprise. Wouldn't you want to feed the goose that lays the golden eggs? Somebody says, well, the goose eats too much. That's probably true. I understand that. Of course that's true. But see, better a fat goose than no goose. And here's the truth be known. We all eat too much. Let not one appetite accuse another. Of course the government needs to go on a diet. So do most of us. But hey, you still have to care and feed the goose that lays the golden eggs once you understand that that's what it's for. See, it is so important, the right attitude. Here's what I used to say. I hate to pay my bills. You open up the mails, nothing but these window envelopes, bills. I hate to pay my bills. Shoaff said, well, that's one way to live. I said, well, doesn't everybody hate to pay their bills? He said, no, some of us are way beyond that. I said, is it possible to love to pay your bills? He said, yes. Reduce your liabilities, increase your assets. Wouldn't you love to do that? So start a whole new attitude here. Next time you pay $100 on an account, put a little note in there and say, with great delight, I send you this $100. I mean, they don't get many letters like that. Reduce my liabilities, increase my assets. My picture's changing. My picture's improving. I love to pay my bills. Keep the money in circulation. Pay my taxes. Feed the goose that lays the golden eggs. It's a matter of attitude. And here's the last on attitude. Everybody must pay. Of course, life is called opportunity, but life is called price. But we must all pay. We must all share. One of the classic stories of all time from ancient Bible script says, Jesus one day and his disciples were standing by the church treasury, synagogue treasury, watching people as they came by and put their offering in the treasury. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Jesus and his disciples standing by the treasury while everybody walks by. Jesus says, how much was that? How much was that? Interesting. And the story said some people came by, put in big amounts. Some people came by, put in modest amounts, average amounts. And the story says then a little lady comes by and puts in 2 pennies in the treasury. Jesus says to his disciples, look at that. Look at that. His disciples said, 2 pennies, 2 pennies. What's 2 pennies? Jesus said, no, you don't understand. She gave more than everybody else. They said, 2 pennies is more than everybody else? He said, yes. Because I'm certain that her 2 pennies represented most of what she had. And if you give most of what you have, then you've given the most. Wow. What a lesson to learn. It's not the amount. It's what it represents of your life that counts. Now let me give you the wisdom of the scenario that did not occur. And this is the greatest of wisdom. And in my own particular, peculiar brilliance, I have the ability to record for you what was not recorded in the scenario of the story. Here's what did not occur, which may teach us one of the greatest of the wise things that was taught in this scenario. Here's what did not occur in the scenario. Jesus did not reach into the treasury and get this little lady's 2 pennies and run after her and say, here, little lady, my disciples and I have decided that you're so pitiful and you're so poor that we've decided to give you back your 2 pennies. I'm telling you, that did not occur. If it would have occurred, she would have been what? Insulted. She would have rightfully said, I know My 2 pennies aren't much, but it represented most of what I had. And would you insult me by not letting me contribute what I wanted to contribute, even if it's only 2 pennies? I'm telling you that did not occur. Here's part of the wisdom of the story that was not recorded. Jesus left her pennies in the treasury, meaning everybody has to pay, even if it's only pennies. That's the key. And whether you start with pennies or whether you start with dollars or whether you start with nothing, remember, part of the scenario is to spend, of course. Part of the scenario is to invest, and part of the scenario is to show a profit, and part of the scenario is to help take care of people who can't take care of themselves. If you'll set up your own philosophy, I'm not asking you to buy my philosophy. I'm not asking you to adopt my numbers. I'm only wanting to provoke you to think, for you to come up with a splendid economic philosophy that's got you up early and got you up late. It's got you thinking and pondering ways to use your resources and turn it into the dreams you want for the future.